So today I'm going to share with you a method that I've been using for a while now, probably maybe 6 months, that is called the 5-minute rule. And it is going to help you overcome procrastination and get going, but also finish some of these, harder tasks that maybe you're kind of putting off, like recording a video, recording a podcast, editing something, making a really dreaded phone call, planning something, whatever those things that you just continually find yourself putting off and then basically creating more and more dread and also more anxiety. That's what we're going to reduce today with the 5-minute rule. Let's do it. You have gifts to share with the world. You know it, you feel it, it's inside of you. This podcast is going to help you make sure that you don't let your gifts go ungiven. Welcome to the podcast where we believe action is what creates courage and embracing your authentic self is the key to success. I'm your host, Melanie Diane Howe. Join me as I help you break through limiting beliefs and embrace your true personal brand to market yourself. I'm going to help you overcome fears and take action to create more courage, more confidence, more content, and more visibility so that you can make progress toward your dreams. This is starting to sound like a mindset podcast, which it is, but I'll also teach you tips, technology, and techniques to create better content you're not only proud of, but also speaks to your audience. Whether you're an entrepreneur or someone seeking personal growth, tune in for straight up, no nonsense advice that'll help you show up, take action, and become the badass you're meant to be. You belong here. Now let's get to work. Before I go into what I want to talk about today, which is a concept called the 5-minute rule, I have to tell you that I spent 5 minutes trying to figure out who truly invented this concept, and I could not find an answer that I felt comfortable like sharing officially. So we're just going to go ahead and say I can't really share who invented this concept because I'm really not sure. If you want to do your due diligence and look it up, go for it. But I can tell you that lots of people have talked about this rule before. I first learned about this idea from a YouTuber named Ali Abdaal. And I really love his channel. It's all about productivity. He actually just released a book as well. I have not read the book yet, but he's just all about getting things done. Sometimes arguably maybe with a little bit too much of the hustle culture, but I do think that his channel is fantastic. So check it out. But he's the first person I heard about it from, but I know he heard about it from somebody else in some other book who probably heard it from somebody else who probably heard it from somebody else, because that's sometimes how all of this works. There's really no original idea, really, truly in any of this. We're all just kind of regurgitating what we learn and what we know and spitting it out in our own way, which is kind of what I want you to do too with whatever you're trying to share with the world. So anyway, we're going to move on from to who came up with this concept, and we're just going to talk about it. So the 5-minute rule is all about procrastination. It's all about overcoming procrastination. It's all about overcoming, whatever limiting beliefs you're kind of giving yourself. Really, it's mostly around you dreading starting something. And it's usually a task that you know is going to be difficult because either you've done it before, and so you know how much work goes into it, or it's a task that you have never done before and you feel uncomfortable because of that. So sometimes when you're trying new things, it does create a level of resistance or friction because you're not sure, right? And so a lot of this comes down to your confidence, your level of confidence in doing something. And so again, if it's something you've never done before, your level of confidence might be a little lower than if it were a task that you've done before. But on the flip side, sometimes you've done a task before, you've done something before, and so therefore you actually, you have confidence you can do it. However, you also know what you're getting into. You know it's going to be difficult. You know that it could be something that's maybe just not your favorite thing to do. So an example I can give you for myself is I love live video. I have loved live video for a long time. I think one of the reasons I fell in love with live video is actually because you are in it and you're in it and you're doing it. And there's no overthinking anymore. There's no backpedaling. There's no stopping. I mean, you're all in. And I enjoy that. I like that because it's kind of just, it fires me up and it gives me energy. But sitting down to record a pre-recorded video, meaning a video that you're going to be editing and piecing together and possibly needing to feel this like need for perfectionism, my gosh, I got to tell you, sitting down to do a pre-recorded video is astronomically harder for me. Like just to click on, open everything up and go live and talk about something, I can do that all day long, any day. But to sit down and actually try to record a concise, just a good version, a simple version of the same concept is so much harder for me. And I think it is so much more around, there's a different level of pressure that we put on ourselves when we sit down and pre-record something. Well, one, when you're live, your words don't have to be perfect. You can stutter a little bit. You can say, you can, just think through your thought a little bit. You can riff a little bit, and it's kind of what people expect. But a pre-recorded video has this weird feeling of, I don't want to say it has to be scripted, but there is a different style of polishing that we can put on ourselves. Now, there are people out there, YouTubers all day long, they do pre-recorded videos, and it's not what I would consider or I would not label it as polished or scripted. They're just recording and they're riffing and they're going and it's a conversation. And there's plenty of people that are successful with that. I personally have tried to kind of just let myself go and be like, hey, who cares? You might mess up a word here. You might not say it exactly as you planned. Like, so what? I've tried this and it is hard for me. For some reason, when I'm doing pre-recorded videos, it is just very difficult. Now, I will tell you with practice, as I always say with everything, the more you do things and the more you stretch yourself, it will feel uncomfortable at first, but you will absolutely get better. You will absolutely learn your own style. You will absolutely learn that you are not going to die because you recorded that video. You are going to survive this process. You will actually get better. And I have absolutely improved over time, and including my ability to lower that self-standard, if you will. I don't even really know how to describe that. But, the same thing with recording podcasts, it kind of all goes together. And so, over time, I have certainly gotten better. However, still to this day, in 2024, to sit down and to do a pre-recorded video takes so much more of my energy. It takes more of my time. And it is much harder for me to sit down and to start the process of recording a pre-recorded video. And versus going live, I'm like, man, I wish I went live more, Honestly, I love going live. And so this is an area where I have applied this 5-minute rule, right? So what the 5-minute rule is essentially sitting down and deciding, you know what? Today's the day I'm going to get started on this video. Now, it may not be the actual recording of the video. I'm telling you, even for me to sit down and start writing my notes for the video, I kind of dread it. I seriously do. Sometimes I just kind of dread it. And in the past, I've just kind of always had to just find myself in the zone to get it going and to get it started. But now it's a little different. Now I know and I have the confidence that, hey, it's not going to be so bad. You're going to know how it feels on the other side. You're going to feel so much better that you got it done. So I do a little bit of a kind of a mindset work. I kind of psych myself up a little bit and I envision what it's like when it's done and how empowered I feel when it's done. I have prepared, right? So preparing creates that power and, the preparation. And so I know that it's going to feel so much better when I have that preparation done. And so I kind of do that. And then I will sit down to actually, begin the recording process. And I will tell myself, okay, you're going to give yourself 5 minutes. And after 5 minutes, you're not feeling it, or it's just not the right time, then you have the permission to move on to something else. And so that's essentially what the 5-minute rule is. It is literally you telling yourself, I'm going to give this 5 minutes of my dedication, my effort, my time. And after 5 minutes, I am able to move on to something else if I want to. Now, the bet here is that after 5 minutes, you are actually going to have found yourself into what we like to, some people like to call in the flow or in your zone of genius, or you're in it. And so you're good. You've kind of warmed up and you're like, I got this. I'm just going to keep going. It's kind of like the same thing with going to the gym or working out or starting on a run. You just don't feel like it. You're like, oh, I got to go run 3 miles, or, oh, I got to go to the gym. And everyone says the hardest part is getting to the gym. But once you're there and you're 5 minutes into your workout, you're good. You're like, actually, like, I'm so happy I'm here. This isn't so bad. And then you just keep going and you do it. It's the same concept when it comes to dreading or procrastinating about a work task or really lots of things. I mean, honestly, having a difficult conversation with a spouse, having to make a phone call, having to, do something professionally, sitting down and having to maybe, let somebody go, or even have a difficult conversation with your boss. I mean, it applies everywhere. If you can give yourself 5 minutes and just go for it, then after 5 minutes, most of the time, you're going to be good to go and you're going to keep going. And next thing you know, you're going to get that task done, or at least most of it done. And you're going to feel that much better about it. And you're going to unlock that anxiety. That anxiety is going to release. It's going to go away. That tension that you're feeling, you sitting there and be like, oh, I got to get this done. That dread of, oh, I still got to get that done. I haven't gotten it done yet. That's all going to go away because you are getting it done. And a lot of times what happens is when you get these things done and when you get them, off your plate, it unlocks more energy. Oh my gosh. I mean, you've probably felt this before. So that is one of the things that I will also do when I kind of do my little, I'm psyching myself up to do something. I will actually think about what is it going to feel like to have this done and able to move on to something else that I rather do. And I also remember all the times where I've dreaded something, I've put it off, but then that feeling and how I feel so on top of the world. And then all of a sudden I go on and I start doing other hard tasks. And so that is definitely one of the benefits that you're going to experience when you apply this 5-minute rule. Really, the 5-minute rule is just kind of like a mind trick, is really the best way to think about it. It requires no skill. It requires no real tools or money. It just maybe requires, if you're one of those types of people, a timer, which almost all of our smartphones have timers on them now. So you should be able to figure out how to set a timer for 5 minutes. That's essentially all it really takes. And so it just takes you being willing to try it. And so the next time you find yourself kind of dreading something or just, needing to find a way to just get something going, then I want you to apply this 5-minute rule. Now, I want you to add the extra sizzle that I add to it, which is, giving yourself a little bit of a running start. And that is to do a little bit of visualization work before you get going. Because sometimes, honestly, you guys, I gotta be honest, it's not just as simple sometimes as saying, oh, I'm just going to give myself 5 minutes and work on it. Well, that's like literally crawling out of bed and being expected to immediately go run 3 miles. Just because you said, I'm going to do 5 minutes. No, you got to get going. You got to warm up. You got to brush your teeth. Got to get your shoes on. You got to maybe stretch a little bit, drink some water, maybe listen to a song, pump yourself up, whatever. That you don't want to do a cold start. And so the way that I like to kind of warm up the motivation or warm up my mindset, if you will, is to do this little bit of like visualization. And you're going to visualize a few things. One, how much better you're going to feel because you got the task done. 2, you're going to remind yourself to give yourself some grace. It doesn't have to be perfect, right? Done is better than perfect. And as one of my old friends used to always say to me, your version of done is somebody else's version of perfect. So remember that. Thank you, Kristen Bitsigay. Now, also, you are going to think about releasing all this negative tension and energy, and you're going to literally visualize yourself like on top of the world because this task is done and you get to go do whatever you want. So, because when you put things off and you just keep kicking the can down the road, then all the fun things that you are doing in replacement of it are a little bit tainted because you still have this, self-disappointment, this kind of like, oh, you're kind of like disappointed in yourself because you continue to not get this thing done that you need to get done. And it's kind of just like, it's kind of like a little black cloud following you everywhere. So imagine, part of your visualization is to imagine that is no longer there. So if you spend a little bit of time in this place, and it may be like meditation, it may be just breath work, whatever it is, however you want to get there. Sometimes I'll just like close my eyes, listen to some songs, and just kind of like just get myself going, get myself ready, get myself in the right mindset. Figure this out for yourself. Figure out what your process is and then apply it. And then I want you to do this 5 minutes. Now, here's a little caveat that I got to give you because some of you are already looking about how you can cheat here. When you do this, knowing that it might be actually a 20-minute task, you do need to give yourself and make sure that you pick a 5-minute window that has 15 minutes on the other side, right? or even 30 minutes on the other side, or whatever it might be. Don't sit there and be like, okay, well, I got to take my daughter to volleyball at 3:00 and it's 2:50. So I'm going to give myself 5 minutes. Well, no, you're not actually giving yourself an opportunity for success here. So there is a little bit of that. You have to pick a window of time to apply this 5-minute rule that actually includes enough time for you to make some substantial progress towards completing the task. Now, the other thing I'll say is that you don't have to, we'll take my YouTube video or my pre-recorded video, for example. That might be a process of planning the video might take me 10, 15 minutes, depending on the video. Recording the video might take me 30 minutes to an hour, just depending on how the clips go and how familiar I am with the content. And then editing the video can take anywhere from 30 minutes to 2 hours, to be totally honest with you. Just again, depending on the clips, depending on how much I need to edit. I am not necessarily going to sit down and apply the 5-minute rule to the entire process of making that video. Meaning, I'm not going to find a 3-hour window of time and try to begin a video. I am going to tell myself, you're going to get part of this done. You are going to sit down and you're going to break this work up into these chunks. And if I just so happen to have the available time throughout the rest of this day to keep going on that video to possibly to a point of editing and finishing the video, then you bet I'm going to go all the way. However, I am not going to sit down with the intention of spending 3 hours to get the whole thing done, unless I am just straight up at a deadline and it is you have to, which has happened. But so you've got to think about your working process as well. I'm a big fan of working in batches, and I'm a big fan of your batch work being in the form, in the, the batches you do are part of the, particular brain power. So, planning is a different type of brain power than being creative. And so you don't want to necessarily plan your batch to be the superhuman who can go from, planning and analytical to creative. So just think about that as well. But the whole major point here, because now I feel like I'm accidentally going to make you overthink this. So don't do that. The whole point of this is that I want you to take whatever you have to do, and I want you to use this 5-minute rule to unlock the resistance to starting. That's really the true thing here. So maybe you've already recorded your clips and you've got to start the editing process and you absolutely loathe editing. I've got my hand up in the air, by the way, right here with you. Don't love editing. Maybe it's the editing process that you need to say, all right, I'm going to spend 5 minutes. I'm going to start editing this piece of content. And after 5 minutes, if I'm not feeling it, then I'm going to move on to something else. I'm going to try again tomorrow. So whatever you're dreading or putting off, that's where this 5-minute rule comes into play. So that's really where it is. So now you have a new tool that you're going to try. And I'm going to tell you that I believe you will find massive success with this. I believe that you're going to find that sometimes it takes 30 seconds of courage to truly start. But if you give yourself 5 minutes of actual productivity, then you will probably keep going. And next thing you know, this thing's going to get done. And if you start to apply this concept over and over again, and it's going to feel natural to you, you're naturally going to actually be like, nope, all I need is 5 minutes to get going on this. And you're going to have this new belief in your own process and in yourself that you're going to find less dread in the future. So it's kind of like building a muscle. I mean, a lot of this stuff really is. And so if you try this tactic, give it a shot a few times, keep going with it. And then just keep pressing on. You're going to find that it's going to actually create a new superpower inside of you that's going to help you start more things and put less of these things off. Because again, putting them off is only creating more negative energy, and it's actually just covering yourself up with blankets and suffocating yourself to a point where you are going to get paralyzed. And so we want to stop doing that. So use this as an unlocking method to get yourself into action. All right, now you've got a new tool in your tool belt. So go give it a try. I think you'll be happy with the results. I really do. I know I have been happy with these results. And share it with somebody else. So again, if it works for you, then spread the word. That's what this is all about. And again, like I said, I have no idea who originally came up with this concept because it has been spread as a domino effect down the line. And I learned of it and I wanted to share it with you because I've been trying it and it's been working really well for me. So give it a shot and hopefully it goes well. All right. Well, I hope you have a great rest of your day and go on and do something amazing. See you later.